Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing good. You had a great day today. I had a great day. We had our lunch and learn today at the Meadows Conference Center on life insurance. So if you didn't get an opportunity to attend it, don't worry about it. We recorded it. It will be on our YouTube channel. And tomorrow we'll be at the Highland Hills Library at 10:30 to 12 talking about life insurance. Since now it's Life Insurance Awareness Month, so don't miss it. So again, thank you for joining us today for our podcast. I want to thank our sponsors, the generous donations from Comerica Bank, as well as AE Media Group and your generous donations. So thank you for allowing us to bring you quality programs like this. I also want to let you know that if you want to give more, you can go to our website at www.empowerseries.com, click on the button on the top left-hand corner to donate, or you can text give or donate to 214-225-6337. As you guys may know, yesterday was North Texas Giving Day. That was our first time participating. We did well. We have 5 donors. There's a lot of nonprofits out there doing some great work with limited resources. So I would tell you, just don't make it a one-day thing. Donate, volunteer, get involved. Whatever your passion is when it comes to community service, get involved and don't assume that somebody else is going to do it, and don't assume that if you don't have money that you can't add value and make an impact. So please continue to give to the nonprofits that are of your liking and of your flavor. Today, I'm always excited about our guest, but speaking about being of service and making an impact, our guest today is actually an employee of the city of Dallas. He's actually an employee of a relatively new department that not a lot of people know about, but this department makes impact when it comes to small, minority, or women-owned businesses. It's about really making sure that they are connecting and creating opportunities for those businesses, developing the capacity so they can make better impact and grow, and then also be included as a contractor when it comes to city contracts and city jobs. So this is Zarin Gracey. Zarin Gracey is the director of the Office of Business Diversity. So everybody, welcome Zarin to the Empower Series Live podcast show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I know.
It's different.
So actually, we were introduced by a gentleman by the name of Eric Wilson. He told me to get in touch with you.
Yes.
So I first want to appreciate you, man, because I know how busy time is. We are talking about family and church and things that you're involved in. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Dennis Kimbrough always says, don't let anybody waste your time.
I like that.
Because we don't know how much time we have. So I really do appreciate you giving me some time to meet with you in your office. And what I wanted to do was to just find out how I can be a resource to you.
Sure.
You're doing a lot of great things, man. And I believe that one of the things that the Empower Series does, not only do we want to give hope, inspiration, and education to people, we want to connect them to resources that are available to them that they don't know about.
Right.
And I know that your department, not only being relatively new, but you are working with a dedicated group of, was it 6 people?
6 staff, yeah.
Yeah, so you have 6 dedicated administrative professionals that are doing hard work to make sure that small businesses and minority business and women-owned businesses know of the resources that are available around them and really helping them grow. So I want to give you a platform to kind of talk about what you're doing and how we as citizens can support you in helping other.
Sure. So you alluded to it a little bit. The Office of Business Diversity has been around technically for the last 2 years, since about 2017. And that was about the time T.C. Broadnax, our new city manager, not new anymore.
Yeah.
He's a professional. When T.C. came in, he understood the importance of inclusion. Particularly as it relates to doing business with the city of Dallas. So we were under the procurement services department for years, almost since inception of this program. We were under procurement services. He came in, pulled us out, and created the Office of Business Diversity from there, so that we could really focus on inclusion. And I'll tell you just a little bit about how kind of things evolved over the time year and over the timeline. 5 years ago, we'll just say, we were really good under procurement services. We were really good about making sure that there was participation on those contracts from the time it was awarded through the life of that contract. We're still really good at that.
Okay.
2 years ago, when we became the Office of Business Diversity, kind of our role and our priorities have changed a little bit in that we wanted to make sure people knew that we were open to do business with minority and women-owned businesses. You can actually come in the door, sit down, talk to somebody, learned that process. And we did a lot of outreach and training and things like that, but it was still, there was this myth about doing business with the city of Dallas. So we spent that, 2 years ago, spent some time trying to dispel some of those myths about what you think it is, what it really is, understanding red tape, both necessary and unnecessary. And we became kind of a guide to help you navigate through doing business with the city of Dallas. And so over the years, that's what we've been doing, is getting people to, hey, we're open. We're open.
Yeah, and like you said, separating it out as a separate division or department, is it just a reflection of how serious it is?
Yeah, it is. It is. And TC wanted to make sure that people understood that that was important, not just to him, but that was a value of the city. I mean, the city of Dallas, we have the 4 E's of equity being one of them, ethics, excellence, and I'll come back to it.
Right.
Equity, ethics, excellence, and empathy. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Empathy.
Okay,
Yeah, those are the 4 E's. But equity was part of that. So making sure that businesses understood that, as it relates to doing business with the city of Dallas, we would be an equitable city, and we are an equitable city.
Well, one of the things I want you to speak to, and we'll have time for that, is you said that you've always been good, or the city of Dallas has always been good, including making sure that there's been minority and women-owned businesses involved in the process, from the bidding process to the awarding of the contracts for the city. However, you do other things besides that.
Right.
Because you want to make sure that there are qualified minority businesses, and these businesses are getting the resources that are available in the city to help them raise their game.
Right.
And your office does that too.
Yeah. So again, I talk about 5 years ago, 2 years ago, and then the future of where we're going is really kind of the framework that I want to use. So we talked about the compliance piece and how we've done a good job doing that. We've talked about, getting people in the door. Once we get them in the door and they're competing and actually winning contracts and participating on these contracts, my role begins to evolve. My department's role begins to evolve, not just from outreach, not just from compliance, but now it's a role of kind of going forward and kind of clearing the path and making sure that once we get you here, you're equipped to succeed in doing business on this contract, as well as creating those opportunities and connecting you to those resources, either in the city of Dallas or in the city proper, that can help you continue to grow your business. So we've created a program. I'm gonna call it a program for now, but it's BUILD, Broadening Urban Investment to Leverage Dallas. And what we've learned is the city of Dallas has a tremendous amount of resources that are out there to help small businesses in any phase of their business life cycle, whether you're in inception, whether you're in, 2 years in, 3 years in, or 10 years in. There's resources out there. The problem is there's not a kind of a grand central station to help direct people to the places that they need to go. There's no signs that say, if you're 2 years in and you need a business plan, you need to go this way. If there's none of that. So what we're trying to do through Build Dallas is kind of create a small business ecosystem that creates a place where we can capture those businesses, whether you're an entrepreneur, construction, goods, services, whatever it may be. We can capture you and then create a group of resources, business service organizations that we can direct you to help get the services that you need or the resources that you need from that perspective. So that's one phase of it. Mm-hmm. The other phase is to kind of narrow it down. We're going to have a small business hub, and that small business hub it's more of your traditional training and education side of things, but it really drills down into doing business with the city of Dallas. So as an example, making sure you understand, all the code compliance rules, right? As a business owner, making sure you're aware of the resources that economic development have available for you. Making sure you understand the difference between a neighborhood empowerment zone and an opportunity zone, and which benefits you, right? From the permit zoning process, all of those things, we're going to make sure that you are fully equipped and educated to do business in the city of Dallas. From if you're looking at a location, I want to open up a spot on Malcolm X. All right, cool. Well, let's talk to economic development, learn about that area. Are there any opportunities for you? What's your position? Those kind of things. So we'll go through all of that. The other side of that is the technical side of it. I'm a recovering banker. So one of the things you see a lot is you see these businesses and they've been oversold on banking services, as an example. Well, this is where you need to be. This is the services that you need to have. Well, yeah, you don't need those for another 10 years. Let's scale back because we need to look at your cash flow, and that could be hurting your cash. So we're going to have educational, training on those things too, where we bring outside folks in to talk specifically about those kind of trainings as well, just so that they can be aware of their positions wherever you are in your business life cycle, and be aware of how to engage the city, how to do business with the city, what the rules are, and hopefully they can pass that along. We're going to be starting out small, so we'll be looking at about 40 businesses a year.
Okay.
10 businesses per cohort that'll come through that training, and then we'll graduate them on from there. Once they complete that, the third leg of that is giving them an opportunity to have access to capital if they need it.
Okay.
So we're bringing in a lending function that'll be attached to it as well. You have to complete the small business hub first in order to get access to it, but we'll get you now. And the objective is to have you in position to be loan ready on the other side of the training.
So let's kind of take a pause for a minute.
Yep, that's a lot.
So in the very beginning, what I was envisioning is like, when you go to Six Flags and you come into the park and you're thinking, okay, where do I go? Where am I? And there's a map that says you're here.
Yep.
And then you can look at that map, and based on where you want to go, you can kind of see, okay, what path you need to take. So when you talk about all the resources here in Dallas for small business owners, it's like you got SCORE, you got the Small Business Development
SBDC
Center. You've got Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, and about every bank has some kind of financial literacy curriculum as well as business curriculum that you can go through. But you're thinking, okay, given where I'm at, where do I need to go?
Right.
And then you got all these independent consultants that would charge you to do some of the things that companies will show you how to do for free. And if you're a business owner, it's not like you got a lot of money to invest in those things.
Exactly.
Right? So the first thing is just to get a map of where are you in your business development cycle, and what do I need, and where can I go to get it, so that there's a connection of the dots.
Right, and that starts kind of phase one. When you complete that application, you're now ready to be assessed.
Okay.
So where you think you are, we're going to have some of these business services organizations within that ecosystem to do that for you. So they're now here. You don't have to go search for them. They're here waiting for you.
Yeah, and because you have a limited capacity of how many people are going to go through this entire program, the people who don't go through the program still get the benefit of knowing where they can go and get these services when they're not going through the program. They're not going to be left out here. Ain't got nothing for you.
They're not lost. And again, the city of Dallas, we have a lot of resources in general. The city of Dallas proper, I have to make sure it's the city of Dallas proper. We have a lot of resources. The city of Dallas as an institutional system, we have some resources, but there are so many more out there. Right. But one of the things that we discovered was, a business comes here and say, you come to point A to say, I need a business plan. Point A says, well, we don't do business plans. Oh, okay. That handoff was not always as smooth as it could be in terms of pointing them to the right direction. This ecosystem will give us the ability to capture them.
Yeah.
And hand them off and pass them to the right services.
Okay, and we're on the same page with that, right? And then the other thing, in addition to having that, there's a level of education that's needed. And whether that education is just personal financial literacy, because your business is a lot of times a reflection of how you manage your personal finances.
Right.
And to you, with your banking background, there's a lot of people, or bankers, will have a tendency of getting business, the Cadillac service, when they're not a Cadillac business yet. Right. So you want to make sure that they're making smart decisions on that.
Exactly.
So there's some level of business acumen, financial literacy acumen that is a training aspect that's going to be part of this program.
Correct. And that's just one. Just the banking service is the one that always comes to my mind because that's where it comes from.
You're a recovering banker.
But there's so many other things that we often overlook as business owners that they can sometimes overlook. We want to make sure we have a lot of those courses available for them as well.
Cool. So once they go through this, and I may use the wrong hub, but this hub process, this training process, then they go into another process to be to start this cohort into a training.
Correct. Yeah. So they'll everyone will complete the application to apply to be a part of the cohort.
Oh, cohort. Okay.
Yeah. Call it what you will.
Okay,
we call it Small Business Hub.
Back up for a second.
Okay.
So before you go into that, you mentioned something about understanding how to deal with the city of Dallas. That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
Is that before you start this cohort, or is it going to be people will just learn? Because it's a maze when you look at the city of Dallas.
Right.
Where does that education come from?
So that's a great question. So the Office of Business Diversity, that is part of our responsibility. We help you navigate. So even if you don't get accepted into the Small Business Hub,
Got it.
where we'll kind of dig in a little bit deeper, even if you don't get accepted into that, again, the idea is that we still have you captured in this ecosystem. So if you need services, you're still there, which also includes the Office of Business Diversity. We can help you navigate through, help you understand. Oftentimes, that's what we do. One of the things we moved from or transitioned from, we used to do a lot of training events and outreach and things like that. And we still do. We just don't do as many, because what we found is we went from doing a bunch of training sessions to doing a lot of one-on-one sessions. As an example, last year we had about 370 or so one-on-one meetings with businesses. And that matters to us, but it also matters to that business, because now we can give you undivided attention. That doesn't go away. This is just another tool to help kind of create those opportunities and build the capacity of our minority and women-owned businesses and small businesses.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to make sure that we touched on that. And so we're going to go deeper on these programs.
Okay.
We're going to continue. But before we do that,
yeah,
you've been with the city of Dallas for 14 years, right?
14 years, yeah.
And man, that's like you're a survivor, right?
14 years.
Yeah.
Takes stamina.
Well, that's good though, man, because and one of the things that I found out about you, given your background in banking, is that, and I'm getting a master's in public administration. So I'm having a renewed and a profound appreciation for all of the stuff that you guys are doing that citizens take for granted. Yeah. So my appreciation to you and you being a representative of all of the city employees. So thank you for that, right?
Thank you.
But one of the things I see is that you guys work hard, and with your background and being in banking, you guys are always looking for how do you do more, deliver quality services with less.
Right.
And so
we just passed the budget that would agree with you. But I'm happy for those who are listening. I'm grateful.
So you're always looking for ways of cutting costs.
Right.
Yep. And you actually had you did that when you were in your previous position, I guess, where you looked at the banking services that the city was using.
Right.
And they were using a lot of services that they really didn't need, or somehow you were able to save them over $150,000 or so, right?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. One, so I started this with the city managing the bond program. Excuse me. Managing the bond program. Then that kind of evolved into managing the investment portfolio. And we had a financial advisor that we used, paid them money. Me being me, the over confident sometimes, I think I could probably do this. So
I can do this better.
I ain't say better.
Right.
I just said I could do it and I could save some money. So had some conversations with the controller at the time and just told him I think I could probably do this. I had a mentor from my previous organization, had some conversations with him, because my dream before all of this, even going into finance, my dream was to work on Wall Street. Okay. I wanted to be a trader, and that I wanted to do that. That was my dream. Didn't quite make it there. I made it to St. Louis, then to Dallas. But I was working for an investment company at the time. And then this job came up, and I went and worked for the city of Dallas. So in doing all of that, I already had the relationships. It turns out the company I came from was our financial advisor, investment advisor, and all of that. So had great relationships. So talking to some of my mentors, I think I could probably do this. So put the proposal together, and we was able to save, roughly about $150,000 a year, which is what we paid in fees and things like that, to our investment advisor, and we brought it in house, and I fumbled through it, and didn't lose the city money. So that's always good when you're managing. But the investments are pretty safe. Obviously, nothing risky because it's taxpayer dollars. So it was fairly easy.
And so what I do with the Empower series, I always ask people to come on to share their story.
Yeah.
About how they've overcome some sense of adversity. Like, who are you? Because people see you and they see your level of success, they see your level of responsibility, and they don't see your journey to it. They don't see the process that you went through. So if you can just tell us a little bit about, I think you were born in Oklahoma, but you spent some time being raised in the city where my mom was from, Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow,
yeah. So tell me about where you're from, where you went to school, a little bit about your background.
So no, I won't go too far into that, but I was born in a town called Enid, Oklahoma. We call it Enid, America. So born there, moved to Kansas City early on in life, and that's where I got a lot of my growing pains. Went to Central High School, right in the heart of Kansas City, 32nd in Indiana.
So shout out, right?
Shout out Kansas City, all my peeps. They got a couple of likes on Facebook when I posted, so I want to make sure I highlight them. I grew up there, man, and you have all these different opportunities, there, and had an English teacher kind of started my career and said, you're going to do this. Everybody has some of those folks in their life that it's not a question. It's not even a volunteer. It's you are going to.
Right.
Here's your application. Fill it out. So I got connected with Inroads, and got an intern doing that. That's where I kind of learned your business etiquette, how to go to a lunch, right? How to sit down, eat. You don't order spaghetti. All of those different things. We learned those business things, but it also gave me an opportunity to get an intern, and I started with the bank downtown. And from there, it completely changed my perspective, and we had been downtown, and those kind of things, but you never really spent any time downtown during the day. So got the job and really started working downtown, and you just get exposed to all of these different things. And that exposure is what I value even today for me still, for my kids, is that exposure. And then as it relates to how to dress, I was in Dillard's, getting followed around like you often do as a teenager, and not just against Dillard's, but in general, what are you doing in this department store? Trying to buy shirts and ties that I didn't have. So you're looking through doing that, picked out some stuff, got to the counter, and it was a black guy there, and he, what is this? Shirt and tie, sir. I'm like, man, here we go. Not with you too. Took me. Brought his tape measure, measured me, everything. All of those shirts were way too big for you. Showed me how to buy a shirt that fit. All of those different things. So from there, again, that moment, that exposure kind of creates that pivot in your life to say, oh, man, I kind of like dressing up in shirt and ties. I like the response, those kind of things. So from there, did the intern and really went on and kind of evolved through the banking side, which, and I can't forget this. I met my mentor at the time. He kind of took me in. It was the only young black guy that I was really exposed to at the bank. Graduated from Duke. Yes, Duke University. He played when Christian Laettner and all them, and they won him. Give him my age now, but when they won the championship, he was on that team, and he had this ring. So that's how I kind of navigated towards him, and he would just take me along to meetings with him. So again, exposure was everything. So once you start finding yourself being exposed to these things, you find yourself being less fearful or intimidated by them, right? So that's kind of my evolution into this, and graduated college, and life, rest of it is history. But Kansas City, those moments kind of impacted me for the rest of my life.
Took you on a trajectory, right?
Yeah.
So I know that a shout out again to everybody who's lifting as they climb. That's a motto for the National Association of Black Accountants, one of the programs that we organization that we partner with. So one of the things I thought you were going to say though is like, oh man, I can't forget this. Is this woman that like that took a risk on me, like your wife, man.
Oh, that's the college years. That's a different story. You know? That's another segment.
Like, ooh, I can't forget this. I can't forget this.
Yeah.
But you married now. You got how many kids?
We have two boys.
Congratulations.
Tomorrow is my youngest's birthday. He'll be 8.
Oh man.
And the oldest one is 9. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Cool.
Yeah. So we've had them. Actually adopted those boys, man, and they ours. This is
how old were you when you adopted them?
Well, they were 1 and 3.
Man, that's like almost a perfect. You know, my brother adopted 2 kids, right? And adopted one at I think 13 months, and the other one maybe at 8. But getting them really, really young, man, that's great. Now, did you adopt them out of the what is it called, the Child Protective Services, or did you go through a different process?
We went through a very similar process. It wasn't CPS, but it was a very similar. Went through an organization out of Fort Worth.
Okay.
You know, we were talking to some friends about it. Once we kind of got our mind made up, talking to some friends about it, and they gave us the name of the organization that they used. Because we started, and it was like, oh, it can $20,000. Wait.
Whoa, hold up. Wait a minute.
I think, I don't. That's a doctor bill. You know, that was right. So we backed up and kind of we got connected to this organization and went through the process and again, it took us about 18, almost 2 years for the entire process before those boys showed up on the doorstep and rest is history. They've been with us and we've been growing and learning together.
Well, that is great, man, because there's so many kids out there, right?
Yeah.
There's so many kids out there that are needing parents.
Right,
so.
right. Yeah, so it changes your life. I mean, so much so, my wife and I, and by the way, thank you for that. My wife, we've been married 17 years. We met in college. So, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, we met, my sophomore year in school we met, and we've been together ever since. That was in 97. And we've been together ever since and been married 17 years, July.
Man, that's great. So what people don't really understand is that when you see anybody that is being successful, especially a man who's successful and they're married, a big part of that success is their spouse.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because your partner can either derail you or lift you up. And I would just say no matter how successful a man is, the wife usually has a lot more to do with that.
Oh man,
than anything that you ever know.
My wife, when I met her, when I tell you, and I don't want to get into too much of this, but when I met her, I'm just gonna say she was literally my moral compass.
Right.
And I'm gonna stop. And I love her for that to this day because she still is. You know, and we are. I am a let's go get it kind of a person. She's a wait a minute, let's think about it kind of a person. And we'll think about it when we get to what we need to think about, kind of a thing. So we offset each other, and she slows me down and I speed her up, and we've been doing that balance for, like I said, 17 years. So, but she was my moral compass. And again, I don't want to ever neglect to really appreciate how much she means to me, in this process.
Well, you've heard of Napoleon Hill, and you've heard of the mastermind. Did you know that Napoleon Hill says that the first person in your mastermind group should be your spouse? Did you hear that?
No, I haven't, but I like that.
So what he says is that because your spouse is the person that really has the biggest and the most influence on you. And as we're looking around and we look at who should we network with, and we're talking about should we get it like business owners.
Yep.
I want to create a mastermind with all of my business owners who are in a certain industry. It's like if you're in a relationship if you're married, your spouse is the biggest mastermind member that should be part of that because, like you said, your moral compass.
She's my moral compass. She is the one where, at the end of the day, I can take my battle armor off.
Yeah,
man. And that matters.
Yeah, So you're very involved. We're talking about time and busyness.
Yeah.
So your city job takes a lot of time, but you also have kids. You're married.
Soccer,
are they doing sports?
They're doing soccer, yeah.
Okay. So I have a 33-year-old daughter and I have a 19-year-old son who's at Ohio State, and I look at parents now with kids, and I'm thinking, man, like how did I ever get stuff done? Because after work, you would then take them to the class, and then if you're doing something, you got to go to your stuff, and you know these organizations you're in. It's like, so time is precious.
You know
man.
what I appreciate about what I do. It puts me in rooms, the opportunity to meet people every day, right? Famous people, regular people, business people, all of those things. But the thing I appreciate is every now and then I get an opportunity to take my boys to an event. In fact, just the other day, I took him to an event where all the city council members were.
Oh man.
You know, and he's there and learning how to engage. That's my oldest one. Now I can't take both of them at the same time, but one and one, you know, I'm good. But we can take them and expose them to those things early on. Neither one of them, you know, what is the number one fear? Public speaking. Neither one of them are afraid to get up and speak in public. They understand how to walk in a room and introduce themselves and those kind of things. So this job gives me that opportunity, not just to meet and help people in businesses and things like that, but it also gives me an opportunity sometimes expose my kids to this world. You know what I mean? Of being an entrepreneur, you know, and I'm just on that cusp. I'm a Generation X, so, you know, entrepreneurship, those things weren't preached. It was, you should go be an accountant, right? You should go be a lawyer, those kind of things. But my boys are getting exposed to all of it, and this job affords me that opportunity to do that, and they get a chance to meet some great people just like me.
Yeah, and that's great, man, because you talk about the influencers when you were young.
Yeah.
Right? People around you that kind of poured into you and gave you some advice. So giving them that exposure now is just going to help them propel even better.
Yep.
I know my son in his application process to college, he was talking about how he wanted to build a business, build a dynasty as big as Walt Disney and be as rich as Mark Cuban. And I'm like, man, I got to up my game, man. It's like, whoa.
Well, you know that, I mean, think like, was the Dallas Black Chamber and the Hispanic Chamber, they both have these awards for youth. And I go and, you know, we get a table and we, you know, we want to support the kids, and you listen to what they've done and just say high school. I'm like,
what have I been doing?
I must have missed that day. So, but yeah, they are so much, they seem to be so much more focused in terms of what they're going to do. And I can only imagine what's going to happen for my boys too.
Yeah, that's exciting to see them grow up and see what they're going to do, right?
You're right. These kids, I mean, double majoring, you can do that? Let me stop.
But you know, what's also good about what you're doing, though, is, and this goes back to really a lot of the things that we as citizens take for granted when we see city employees. I would say that there's it's more than just a job.
Yeah.
Right. Like we all got to get up and do something to make a living.
Right.
But when I look at people who are working for the city, part of that is you got to get up and work for the city, but you are truly doing something. The work you're doing is really benefiting more than just you.
It's called public service.
Point.
Yeah.
And people don't get that,
Yeah.
man. But so I really want to give you an opportunity to let us know as citizens a couple of things, and you've done part of that already. It's like, what do we need to know that we don't know, right? Because you're on the inside and we don't know it. And how can we help you?
Yeah.
How can we help you make your job easier so that, because when you're successful, you're not just helping small minority and women-owned businesses. You're really helping everybody in the city, right? So I want to get back to, in your role and what you do, you know, what can we kind of take some action on?
That's good. So now I'll kind of back up a little bit and touch on it just briefly, but public service and understanding, you know, as an employee of the city, I get very passionate about our employees and the things. There's so many great things that go on and take place, and there's so many stories that even being on the inside that we miss, that people do to go the extra mile to service, you know, this city, this great city, whether it's from sanitation to somebody in the accounting department. You know, all of these things are accounts payable. I deal a lot with them when payments seem to be, you know, they're on it. They hunt it down. I've seen them go find the invoice and get it processed and do all of these things. So it's public service, and most of the people in that building, if not all, are there because they have a calling on them, whether it's a ministry or not. It is a service. It's not just a job. Do you get tired? Absolutely. You know, because you're pulled different directions from citizens. Then you have family, you have life, you have that. But the people in that building are there to serve. And So as citizens, people don't always get a chance to see that. There's this term I've been reading about. The city is always, practice. You've heard council members, city managers talk about transparency. There's this term called operational transparency, and it's the idea that if you could expose, as employees of the city, if there is a way we can help you see inside what it takes to get done, how much it takes to get things moving and get things done so that we can provide those services to you, then you'll begin to understand and see in those complaints and those kind of things, there's that empathy side of things that come back into place, but it starts internally too. So, understanding operational transparency. So for us as the Office of Business Diversity, the operational transparency side of things is understanding what's on the other side of, 26.2% MWBE participation. That is a result of 377 one-on-one meetings that we've had. That's a result of, I don't know how many meetings we've had with prime contractors who needed a little assistance coming into compliance. That is a result of sacrificing, going to these events and meeting new people and trying to get them connected into that. That is the result of introducing them to the departments. All of these things that we do, that we are willing to do to make sure that you have an opportunity to compete on a city contract and get connected to those resources. That's what my office does. Even if you're not sure how we can help, we want you to come through the doors, because that's the first step, is coming through the doors. And for many, that can be a huge, huge decision to actually go down to City Hall, wake up that morning. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I think there's somebody in that building that can help me, right? To make that decision and get down, to get up and come into City Hall it's a huge decision, and it can be overwhelming. It can
be daunting for a lot of people.
Just walking in. Yeah. But once you get there, letting them know that, listen, when you come in the doors, we'll sit down with you. No question is too simple or too hard. If we don't know it, we'll figure it out. But getting you connected to those opportunities so that we can get you connected to resources.
So, is there an appointment process? Because you don't want everybody just flooding your door, right?
So I would ask that you at least
I heard you on the podcast, man. You said come on down,
which is great, and we'll figure it out. But give us some grace. Give us some grace. It's only 6 of us. But yeah, there's an appointment. Usually it's an email, and I don't mind. Okay. You can give the email address out. I'll give you my email address. It's Zarin, ZARIN .Gracey, GRACEY @DallasCityHall.com. Okay. And I'd ask that you please copy my assistant. So,
so wait, do you have permission to give hers out?
I do. I do. Please.
Okay.
She would be mad if I didn't. It's Taylor Woods. Her email is TAYLOR.Woods, WOODS @DallasCityHall.com.
Okay, cool.
We'll get you connected in those things. And one of the things I'll say is when you have those meetings, I always encourage small businesses, minority businesses to understand how your business can impact the city.
So they should know that coming in.
Have an idea. We'll sit down with them, and typically we'll sit 30 minutes to an hour just talking through that. Because again, you have a service, you have an idea or business or those kind of things. There may be an existing contract already in place. If it is, we can kind of talk through that. If it's not, being able to have a general idea of how this service or this good could help the citizens, because that's the language that we speak.
Okay.
Many times, and then sometimes it could be about how can we do things more efficient, make our processes more efficient, those kind of things. Sometimes there's an opportunity, sometimes there's not. One of the things I say to encourage businesses to, really get engaged, from a civic perspective is listen to some of those. They sound boring. There's a lot of information in those discussions, in those presentations that staff is giving to the city council. Listen to them. Go back, read those presentations. Does any of that align with what your service or your goods and those kind of things? If it does, okay, now we can start somewhere.
All right, so let's do this to make sure that you're not getting flooded by a lot of people who are not prepared for this meeting.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So if someone is wanting to do so, before they go to the meeting, lay out for them what they need to do to either, is there the website they need to go to review some of the things? Like, what would you tell them to do to prepare before they come in? You said one of the things is to identify what their services are that could be beneficial for the city. Is there some place they can go to see what those services are, or do any kind of research before they meet with you?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. So it again, City Hall physically and on the website can be overwhelming. So I'm not going to tell you to go and, do all this research. You need to look at all of the committee meetings from the years 1999 through current, just before you walk in. I don't necessarily want you to do that, but I do want you to at least have a little bit of an idea about how that good or services fits into the city operations. Like, have an idea that, I want to connect with the water department. Okay, cool. Tell me why. Let's talk through that.
Okay.
Right. So just have an idea of where that service fits into the thing. Again, we can sit down and walk you through that, and we don't mind doing that. But as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you kind of want to do your homework too. Do a little research from that perspective. So to your original, it is, I think it's bonfire.dallascityhall.com.
Bonfire.dallascityhall.com.
Okay. Or it may be the other way around. I can't remember. But it's
right, one or the other, right?
DallasCityHall.com or DallasCityHall.bonfire.com, I think is what it is from there. But that'll give you a location where, one, you can do a couple of things. One, you can register as a business owner. You can register there, register your business, go through, get some commodity codes, because that'll be one of the things we'll offer you as well, is the instructions on how to do that, how to add those commodity codes so that you can start getting notifications of opportunities. The other thing you can do is search for upcoming contracting opportunities on that website. We just upgraded back in March of this year, actually. So it's way more user friendly in terms of searching for opportunities, those kind of things. You can see what that contract is, your specifications, the due dates, all of that stuff is right there at the click of a button, no more than 2 to 3 clicks.
So let me tell you what. So one of our previous Empower Series speakers, Jeff Flanagan, he's out in California. He's the founder of Code Black, a division of Lionsgate. So he came out and spoke in 2014, and what he said is he doesn't have any problem meeting with people because everybody wants to get into the entertainment industry and they come to meet, but they don't know they don't know what you're saying. Like,
right.
How can you be of service? So what he says, he doesn't mind helping people, but information is free. So if you haven't done the research to do the information and come in and at least have an idea as to what you can do to be of service, then he ain't got time for you. Right? And so you talk about becoming a vendor of the city of Dallas. You can Google, how do you become a vendor of the city of Dallas? And there's a set of instructions.
Yeah,
So if someone's coming into you and they're going to say, "How do you become a vendor?" Like, have you Googled it yet?
It is, and again,
so I would say, please Google it. Whatever you're thinking, Google it, and you will say somebody has had that question before. And
Google it. But I will, come back to, we are a public servant.
I got you. I'm not. Wait, you're not telling me. You're not telling them this. I'm telling them this.
Right.
Because here's what I would say. Because to the extent that you've done that already, then now you're much further ahead in the process of discussion with you. So it's gonna, in my opinion, it will save a lot of people time, because if you've done that, then you've already done it. You can then move on to something else that will be of more substance.
Good point. Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say is that I know you're busier than I'll get out, man. You're in meetings all the time, because it's important for you as the director to know what the other directors are doing. So the left hand know what the right hand is doing. So when someone is meeting, are they actually meeting with you or somebody in your staff?
It varies. It just depends. We all step in. There's no titles mean nothing when it's 6 of you. You know what I mean? I may have a compliance person come in and do that. It just depends on who's available up, right? to do that. We all, the beauty about our department is at some point we've all been exposed to the outreach, to the compliance, to the meetings, to the training, those kind of things. So at any given point, we can send any one of my staff to go and do a training, those kind of things. That's the beauty of our operation. We have segments and responsibilities, but anyone can step in. So I say that to say, if I'm free, then absolutely we can set up a meeting. but we have staff that would definitely assist in doing that. But one of my favorite things about this job is I enjoy meeting you and learning about your business. So I may not have the be afforded the time to sit through the entire meeting, but I definitely want to come in, at least say hi, learn a little bit about what you do from those kind of things. But again, here lately, I've come in to meetings and you try to come in as, I'm Mr. Gracey, Mr. Director, and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, Laura already told me that. Oh,
okay.
That's all I got. Well, good to meet you. I'm gonna go. You got it? All right, cool. So the staff is equipped to do just the same thing. So, oftentimes they want to meet with the person in charge, but the person in charge can do it, but you're just gonna hear what, staff has already said. So again, as a tip, don't discount meeting with staff, and don't be offended if the director of whatever is not available to talk to you. It's not that you're not important enough or anything like that. We just have a lot of citizens and a lot of things that we're doing to service this city, and we have staff that are available and fully capable. So trust our staff and trust the information.
All right, and a lot of things that you're saying is really good for other cities. So we have people who are probably listening from other cities standpoints. I would say take this and apply it to your city. So number one, get registered to be a vendor for your city. And if you don't know how to do that, Google it. You'll see the instructions. Do the most to do that. Is there anything? And then also see what other service codes.
Those commodity codes.
Commodity codes.
The commodity codes, adding those commodity codes gets you the email notifications. So if you just register, you're in there, but you won't get notified of any opportunities. And
then let's say you get notified, but you've never really responded to a notification. Is there anything that they can do on their own to understand how do you respond to those? Yeah.
So there's that's a meeting.
Okay.
That's a meeting. Those are some of the things we walk you through. We have a lot of training that we do over at Bill J. Priest in terms of how to do business with the city of Dallas, how to respond, and how to put packages together. One of the things I enjoyed the most of one of the trainings we offered, we did a procurement simulation. And again, you're taking a hand. I went through a program at Harvard, and one of the things that we did, it was that simulation, and that simulation just makes you hear it. Now you're exercising it. Yeah. And when you go through that, it just makes everything, because people really get into character, right? And so we decided to try that with the procurement process, so that here's what it's like. It was a 2-day process. Here's the bid. You got a night to respond. Come back. Then we're gonna let your peers evaluate you, so that you don't get mad at the city. Feel like we did something wrong when somebody else checks your work.
So these are your peers, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it really, we got a lot of good feedback through that. So we're gonna shape that up, refine it a little bit. And we're gonna come back and offer that as well. So just stay tuned. That'll be another opportunity.
So is there a place to go on the website or to find out, are there any other trainings for the rest of the year?
We are at, for us, we're entering into those holiday months, right? So there's going to be a lot of outreach events and things like that. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is just to come and try and attend some of those events. The networking. I wasn't a big fan of that word, but it matters. It matters if you go in with a game plan. From that perspective. So our website, we're working on that website and getting it back up. We had some technical difficulties, so we're redoing that website. It'll be up hopefully next month. We'll get it up and running and ready to go from there. But DallasCityHall.com, and then at the top you can click on departments, and if you go to procurement services, that website is up, and you can click on and find the opportunities. And we share and put some training opportunities out there as well.
Okay, cool. And so, but there's going to be some outreach, probably some networking events that people can go to by the end of the year.
Yep.
But if people feel like they're ready to meet, they'll just email either you or your assistant, Ms. Woods.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then somehow they'll be set up to be on a calendar.
Yeah. If you email us, we will respond and we'll get you connected and get some time set up. And if we get enough, what we'll do is just create a training. We'll have everybody at the same time, and we'll send out some notifications on that in terms of getting engaged.
So let's kind of make sure that we're getting additional information. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure that we wanted to let the citizens of the city of Dallas know that you're doing that's a good resource that they need to get connected with?
The other thing I didn't mention this. I'm the chair for the North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency. So, having your minority women-owned business certification, it's not necessary to do business with the city of Dallas, but it does help in terms of being in that catalog. And there are 20 other board members that consist of municipalities and governmental entities that are a part of this organization. We're all pulling from that list. So as it relates to getting business with the city of Dallas, the set process is the same for DART, DISD, Dallas County, DFW Airport, all of them, City of Arlington, Fort Worth, you name it. All of those are member entities for NCTRC. So going through that certification process is another one. The myth, it's not necessary to have that certification in order to do business with the city of Dallas, but we can also get you connected so that you can get that certification and be counted in our numbers.
And so when you say the certification, so it's a certification for a women-owned business is one certification.
Right.
Minority is a different certification.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yep.
And
then we have small business certification.
Small business certification,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So there's really, if you're a small business, you should definitely get a small business certification.
You should definitely get a small business certification.
No,
you should get
no doubt.
Yeah, because all of those member entities, not everybody has an MWBE. Not everybody has a small business program. So you can get all of them at the same time is my recommendation.
All right, but you can be a small business and not qualify for a minority.
Correct.
And you can be a small business and not qualify for a woman.
Correct.
So, but if you do qualify for a minority and a woman, it's good to get all three of them.
Get all three of them
on your resume.
And if and if you're interested in doing business, this is a whole another segment. But if you're interested in doing business with the airports, then you want it's called an Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business ACDBE or Disadvantaged Business DBE certification as well. And that's if you're going to get into contracts with an entity that receives federal dollars. Those are the certifications that you need for that.
Okay, and then for those two certifications, so back to resources and where you go. So there are some consultants that will tell you, hey, if you pay me, I will go ahead and help you get these certifications. And if you've got the money for it, fine.
Right.
But if you just got the idea and you're setting it up and you don't really have the money to pay a consultant to do it and you're willing to do the legwork, roll up your sleeves, is there a resource that they can go to?
There are. So if you Google NCTRCA, that website will come up. Our process is online. You can start the process online. You can start and stop as many times as you want. Again, pretty straightforward. Attach this document. Fill in this space. Those kind of things. So you can do it. Women's Business Council is another certification agency, and DFW Minority Supplier Development Council. They all have people on staff. NCTRC, we all have people on staff that can take some calls and help you when you have those questions in terms of going through that process. So you can pay, and I don't want to knock anybody's business.
Because people pay to get their taxes done.
Exactly.
They can do them themselves, right?
So, and it's just a matter of how much is it worth to you. If you don't have the time, then absolutely, you go do that. But it's not necessary.
Yeah, and that's what I want to make sure, because it goes back to where people, I was talking to somebody who paid a significant amount of money to get something done, and they just didn't know that they could have done it themselves.
Right.
Or it's going to take more work, right?
Yeah.
But if you're looking at starting a business, you want to make sure that you're very intentful about where that investment goes.
Exactly.
So I just want to make sure that if you have any questions about that, you can email thrive@empowerseries.com or set up a meeting with the city of Dallas and figure that stuff out. So anything else?
No, that's it. The city of Dallas is open to doing business. My boss would kill me if I didn't talk about some of our numbers in terms of where we've come, as it relates to MWBE participation. So, I mentioned, the 5-year span. 5 years ago, we were at about 22.8%. In 2018, we ended at 26.2%. So we're gradually increasing. The other strategy as it relates to helping us move the numbers, move the dollars spent with minority, is to consider joint ventures. Consider going in. We don't have to compete. We're already competing with non-MWBEs on that other 75, 74%, but consider teaming agreements, joint ventures, and things like that to come in and do business with the city of Dallas as well. There's so many different routes that you could take in terms of getting in. Now, if you don't have the capacity, those kind of things, subcontracting is the right way. But again, one of the jobs I want to do is make sure that this program continues to evolve. And in doing that, other ways of doing business and other combinations in terms of coming in and doing business with the city of Dallas have to be in play as well.
Okay, cool. Well, I know the Empower Series wants to be involved with you to help you make sure that you're reaching a community of people that may not know, right? And so this is just one of hopefully many times that we'll be collaborating together.
And this is fun. Call me back anytime, man.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Tell me when the mic is on, though.
Yo, you crazy dude. So yeah, and so I need to make sure that I'm taking advantage because so not only the nonprofit is a vendor of the city of Dallas, but me, Clifton Ellis Johnson Consulting Services, I'm also a vendor of the city of Dallas, and I'm not taking advantage of all of that. So I'll probably be setting up a time to meet with you just to understand. Okay, I know I have value to give from a consulting standpoint. You know, I've done a lot of OD work, organizational development, leadership development work. So if you guys are looking at those type of services, I need to see how can I be of service to you guys as leaders to help you be more effective in achieving your goals. And
you know that's a great point. You know, two things. One, we have a catalog of all of our existing contracts. When you meet with us, you're gonna walk away with that catalog. Okay. So these are all the existing contract services that we have in play currently. One of the things that you know, you and I were talking earlier before this aired about, you know, TC coming in, and if you are a leadership nerd like I am, you know, to watch this transition, you know, and it didn't always feel good, self included, but to watch this transition and watch him come in to this organization and do some of the make some of those decisions and create some of those changes that he's created along the way is phenomenal. And leadership development is one of those things that's first and foremost, not just for staff, but for executives as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. I say all that to say there's a lot of opportunity coming down the pipeline for directors, city managers, assistant directors, managers, and all of that. Leadership matters to him, and it's clear, and you can feel it in the organization, especially with some of the things that are coming down the pipeline to help us continue to evolve as public servants.
Well, one of the things I can just tell by his leadership, that he's a cool cucumber, right? So I am.
He an alpha. What's your ice cold?
So he's proud. I got to give that a shout out. So we are live. Okay, and this is going to be available immediately afterwards as well. But
Thank you for reminding me.
We do have some comments that are here, man. And so a couple of them want to give a shout out to Taylor Woods.
Oh, did she? It's crazy.
She's proud of you, man.
Oh.
And then also there's a question though. So one of the questions is, how many employees do you need to have to qualify for the small business certification? Do you know the answer to that?
I think we adopted. It's not number of employees. It's annual revenue, and we use the SBA standard. And you would be surprised what they call small business,
because it could be you can still make millions of dollars and be small business.
You can make millions. There's a revenue cap, annual revenue cap. But again, depending, and it's by industry. So the revenue cap for construction may be, I'm just throwing a number, 25 million. But the revenue cap for supplying widgets may be 100,000.
Got you.
So it's really your annual revenue that they're basing it on.
And it's based on industry, so you got to do some research.
Based on the industries as well, yeah. Okay. And I think there may be some employee sizes in there as well, but what I'm most familiar with is the revenue size.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, man. We normally go for an hour, but we can keep going. So there's another guy who does a broadcast and be out there for 3 hours, man. But he has 22 million followers.
Yeah, right.
I'm not there yet.
Well, let's make it happen. I got some jokes to tell if you want to. We can get you there.
Hey, man, I just really appreciate you. Well, here's the thing. I've had one person come on twice.
Yeah.
So definitely, I would say as you farm out the next program, right? The training and stuff. Let's definitely plan on you coming back so that the citizens know how they can take advantage of that, apply for that.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah,
I would appreciate that. Over the
definitely
next
come
couple of months, we'll have that kind of locked down and pass through legal and all of that, and we'll be ready to kind of make that official. I'd appreciate that.
Cool. And then, so one of the bylines of the Empower series is ideas in action. So I would say that in this podcast, we've talked about a lot of things, and people watching have probably had some ideas, but it's not going to do anybody any good if you don't act on it.
Right.
So one of the actions is definitely reaching out to you and your assistant, Ms. Woods.
Yep.
To at least engage in a conversation. Another action could be to figure out, if you're not a registered vendor of the city of Dallas, go out there and figure that out.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to get certified for any of the minority designations, Google how do you do that.
Yep.
And start doing those things now. Is there anything else that you would say that people should take action on as a result of you?
I'll say we developed this mantra that we have two. One is intentional outreach yields equitable outcome. That is how our office operates. So we're very intentional in our outreach by industry, by ethnicity, by capability size. All of those things are intentional because there's opportunities that come. And most of the time we're looking at the outcomes of those contracts and trying to find competition to help save taxpayer dollars. So intentional outreach yields equitable outcome. The other part of it is for us, and we developed this one about 2 years ago, don't just meet, compete.
Yeah.
So to your point, I say it a little bit differently, but again, I don't mind meeting with anybody. And I'll meet as many times as it takes. But ultimately, we're meeting with you because we want you to compete. Because you compete, lowers costs for the city, saves taxpayers dollars. But more than that, it gets you in the door. You may compete, you may lose, but come back, do it again. And again and again and again, and eventually you'll win. We have stories all the time. We have a lady, and I'll tell this real quick. A lady, her first contract was for light bulbs. Second contract was for wooden stakes. Third contract was for crickets when we owned the zoo. So the lady was resourceful. I don't know where she got crickets. I don't know where she got light bulbs. I don't know where you find all three of them in the same place, but she was able to do it and win contracts.
Wait, did she win all three?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
These are contracts that she won.
She won. Oh,
yes.
My gosh.
Woman-owned business. She won these contracts. This is where she started. And you see her from time to time. She'll be on contract. She may have an $8 million contract, a $4 million, $3 million contract.
I might want to get her on the show.
The lady is resourceful. Is resourceful. So
true entrepreneur, right?
True entrepreneurs, and we've done procurements for bottled water. So there's so many opportunities out there that people, just don't think we need. Yeah. T-shirts, all of these different things. There's so many different needs that the city has, departments have, that are out there. Some of them less than 50,000, some of them more, but we need them. All right. So it's just a matter of going for it.
So go ahead, give your contact information. This is going to be the last thing we do.
So the email is let me start with Taylor first. It's Taylor, TAYLOR.Woods, WOODS @DallasCityHall.com. And my email is Zarin.Gracey, ZARIN.GRACEY @DallasCityHall.com.
All right, man. Well, hey, thank you, bro.
Thank you so much for having me. This is fun, man.
You will be back.
I appreciate it.
Hey, and thank you all for watching. Again, we talk about not wasting your time. So what we hope is that this has been a good investment of your time. The dividends is going to be based on the actions that you take from the ideas that you received here. We're always here to give you hope, inspiration, education, and connecting you to resources. We did a good job with Zarin here in the city of Dallas.
Thank you.
Connect with the Empower Series at thrive@empowerseries.com. Connect with us on our social media. We have an Instagram account, LinkedIn, whatever questions you have, we want to be a resource to you. And again, I want to thank our sponsors, Comerica Bank, AE Media Group, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, all of you who've donated your time, your volunteerism, your money, and we can always use more. So please, you can go to our website, find out more about what we do at www.empowerseries.com. If you want to give, hit the donate button, text give or donate to 214-225-6337. And until next time, be cool, put those ideas in actions, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at the Highland Hills Library at 10:30 to talk about life insurance.
Thank you, man.